Super cool radio.
Hello, everyone. I am Matthew Thomas. This is Super Cool Radio. Got a bit of a crowded screen here. We got a very special episode. This is actually the first episode on Super Cool Radio that will feature multiple people from multiple different bands for this podcast. And all these bands will be performing live at the Debonair Music Hall coming up in Teaneck, New Jersey on October 30th. It's going to be a really awesome show. So, let's dive into this episode. Let me introduce my guest this time. First, people should be familiar. He's been on my show before. He is from the band N.A.S.H, who performed at the Blue Ridge Rock Festival this year, and he's appeared on Super Cool Radio. Please welcome Joe Nash.
Thanks, Chris. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it, bro. Thanks for having me back, man.
Of course. I had a great time, even though I think you lied to me a few times, but that's okay.
Yeah, we got through it, though. At the end, I think we were sort of on the same page.
Oh, totally. Up next, my next guest of this time also performed at the Blue Ridge Rock Festival this year, and in July released a awesome song entitled Monster. She's a hard rock independent solo artist from Rockland County, New York. Please welcome ALYXX.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Of course, thank you. I got to give big props to Nash, their team, for setting this up. As I said, I've been very busy lately, so I'm glad I didn't have to do too much. I could just show up and everybody's here.
Yeah, no, big props to Lauren, who sets all. She's just awesome. She's, like I said before, I can't, organize my way out of a wet cardboard box. So she keeps us honest, bro. Honestly.
At least you're here.
I know.
At your own house.
Exactly. Yeah.
And of course, the last guest, part of a band that performed at the legendary Sturgis Motorcycle Rally. They're an awesome pop rock band from New York. Please welcome Kris of Wild Plains.
Thank you very much for having me on the show. It's very exciting.
Of course. Thank you all for being here. I'm glad we were able to actually do this. As I said, very special episode. This first time I've only interviewed bands from like just a band and different members from them. This is actually the first time I've banned from a bunch of different bands here on this episode. So I appreciate you all being here today.
No, it's cool. It's awesome.
Appreciate you having us.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
So people should be familiar with Nash. I've featured them on my show before. I've interviewed Joe, as I said. So before we dive in, obviously we're going to talk about the October 30th show, the Debonair Music Hall. But before we get a little familiar with the other guests here, so ALYXX, you are as I said, a solo independent artist. So how did you get started as a solo artist?
So I'd always written my own music, and I actually did theater for most of my life, and then I would just write kind of as an outlet, and throughout time realized that wasn't really what I wanted to do anymore. So I wrote a single and then came out with a music video, and then kind of realized that this is kind of the path I wanted to go. So I have great musicians that I work with, and it just kind of spiraled into what it is now.
Very awesome. As I said in the intro, I really enjoyed Monster. That song really rocks. I really enjoy it.
Thank you. That was a fun one. I wrote that during quarantine because I was, quarantine was a weird time for everybody, I think. And I'd written that, and then I was so happy with the way everything kind of came out. And that was the first time I'd actually done a full demo on my own. And it was just crazy to hear the real, basically I do everything in my basement. I play piano and synth and stuff like that. So it's just crazy to hear like real drums and how like everything was brought to life, and it was just better than I could have ever imagined. So I'm really proud of that one.
Definitely. The song is really awesome. So like, how was it? As you said, you wrote it during quarantine. So how was it? Was it a different experience than previous writing sessions or recording sessions?
Not totally, to be honest, because I do write all the songs like on piano first, and then they'll get like translated into guitar and whatnot. But so like I will like do like a demo session on my own and kind of come to the studio and be like, okay, like this is the song that's kind of like build around it. So essentially the same thing kind of happened, but this was the first time that like a full, like I added like drums and everything to the song. And so I had a better vision of like kind of what I wanted. So it was different in that aspect also, because I was like, you know, I didn't have the luxury to like go to and from the studio all the time. So it's kind of like everything had to be like presented as is.
Gotcha. So I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna talk to Kris Wild Plains. So how did Wild Plains come together, and how is it working with Andre?
I actually met Andre in acting class at RCC.
Really?
I don't know. Johnny may have been in that class as well.
Oh wow, he knows everybody. Probably would have been. He's still kind of in that world a little bit. So
yeah, I think that was like 2013, I believe, when I met Andre. And I actually joined his band, the Always, at the time. And their guitarist.
I know that name, Always. Yeah.
Austin.
But you're in the Always?
Yeah, for like.
I didn't know that.
See, learn something new every time on Super Cool Radio.
It's coming together.
Right before they like totally split ways, I was a part of the band for a series of shows. We went up to Canada, and in Canada when we were 20, we were old enough to drink up there. So Andre and I just went like balls to the wall, and then we just realized like, oh, that's my best friend. That's my friend. My best friend. And that band split up. So I was like, you know what? I am a singer-songwriter myself. So I was like, yeah, I could write songs. Fuck it. Let's just do our own thing and like not give up. At that time, 20, 21 years old felt like old. Now I wish I could fucking.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, we're 21, dude. We gotta push now, figure out how the fuck we're gonna make this work. And it's been like 7 years now, and we're still doing it.
Nice. When I was researching you guys to prepare for this, I liked one of your latest YouTube videos. It was in the backyard. You were obviously playing music in the backyard. I like how they're like, all right, so we're gonna do like a little call and response kind of thing, and then like, okay, we're gonna do it now. Oh, wait a minute, that's not right. We're gonna do it. And then the notes got to come back around, and then you went to doing it. I thought that was very funny.
That's when the timing in my head doesn't match up with the progression of the song. I'm just way off.
That had me laughing. I was just listening to it because I was making my notes, and I was like, hold on, I gotta actually watch this. I want to see this.
I'm not a perfect man.
So definitely. So how'd you come up with the name Wild Plains?
It's like not even a cool story.
Oh really? All right.
We were called White Plains, and we spelled it differently, like WHYT, because we thought that was cool at the time, and it was really actually stupid. But we thought it was interesting because we were like, how the fuck do you come with a band name? Like, what's original? What's catchy? What's gonna make the sound? We didn't really have a sound that we were going for. We didn't have an image. We really had no direction at all. So we're like, there's a band called Rixton on the radio at the time. Rixton, and they had I can never remember, and I never Googled it after I say this. They had a hit song, and it was huge, big fucking song. And it was like, man, that's their hometown in England. I was like, oh, what's their hometown name we can think of? Rockland? Hell no. White Plains. We're like, oh, I guess that's kind of cool. And everyone's like, well, whatever, fuck it, let's do it. We changed the spelling, and then we had a fake manager bullshit us and swindle us, and ended up copyrighting our name or trademarking the band name, so we were no longer legally allowed to use it. It's fucking weird.
Jesus
so we're like,
Christ.
all right. Andre's mom was like, what about Wild Plains? And we're like, all right, that's great. It works. And because it's close in sound and it represents the same thing, Facebook allows you to change the name and still maintain all of your likes and follows or whatever the fuck. So it just stuck with it.
It's very odd. Like, yeah, I'm gonna. This band's gonna be so huge. I'm just gonna copyright it right now. They won't not tell. That's very odd.
I know he copyrighted our songs that we
Wow.
wrote, a series of bunch of songs, and he copyrighted and trademarked our band name in like whatever, and all the entertainment, music, art, band. Like when you trademark things, you have to trademark it in certain realms. I don't even categories, so that way someone else in the trademark with the same name can do, like in a food restaurant, can use White Plains for whatever reason. But it can't be anything music or entertainment. So
that is super odd. And that costs money too. Like it's not cheap to do that.
He was a real douchebag.
Well, he must have thought you guys were it was gonna be big, so he's like, let me get in this, you know.
He sold us the story. He was friends with Jimmy Iovine. He was Jimmy Iovine's lawyer. He was rubbing elbows with Usher and all these artists and managers, and was going to get us into Interscope Records and get us a deal and all the same shit. We're just like, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I was just writing songs, and
I'll never forget our first one of those. We played a talent show at Spring Valley Senior High School where we all went to school. And the security guard's like, "You got a demo? I know Anthrax.
Oh, classic.
I know Anthrax." I'm like, "Oh shit!" We're sitting there throwing CDs. I mean, he didn't make any money off of us, but you know, I'm like, "All right, you know Anthrax, like the disease, you know, not the band, the virus or whatever the hell it is, the biological weapon. Cool." Yeah.
I love when people just name drop, and I'm just like, I don't trust anybody or believe anybody, so I'm like, nah. Sorry, everyone's for everybody.
It's a good attitude. We swooned at that for a while, probably even as early as last week. But you never know.
I've had so many people like tell me like, "Oh, I know this person. I could do this. I could do that." I'm like, "Okay, set it up." Well, you see, I kind of can't do that. I'm like, "Oh, okay."
That's because they knew somebody who said they knew somebody, and they were bullshitting them. So they just took on the whole story of that person that said they knew somebody. Now they trickle down. Don't know them.
Indeed, and I know this guy who knows this guy who knows this guy who knows this guy's cousin who knows that guy.
Well, also, I had someone once tell me that, like, and this is true, like a lot of people, like even like like saying like Beyonce, stuff like that. There might be like 30-something producers credited on one of her songs. So it's like, oh yeah, like I worked with Beyonce. It's like you might have a credit on her song, but you also might not have even been there when it was done.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's full of shit.
Yeah, we knew a mix who mixed Monster by Rihanna and Eminem. I mean, he was a great, cool studio. We actually went to a studio in Brooklyn. So this is with the manager that was bullshitting us. And he was like, this guy, he's rubbing elbows with Rihanna and Eminem, and he's a producer in the studio. And we went to the studio, and the guy's like, I get sent the records from the company, from the record label to mix them, and I get a paycheck, and that's the last I know of anything that has to do with anything. I never met these people. I don't know nobody.
Yeah. At least at some point somebody was honest, you know. You go sometimes you chase it. It's like, you know, and this is Matt, this is a therapy session for everybody here. This is, you know, it happens a lot. Like you said, like Kris said, you know, I don't know what the rationale is. Maybe they just makes them feel better about themselves. But you know, even if you are somebody, doesn't mean you could do anything for, you know, does, you know, it's like a minefield out there.
It definitely, even like with the stuff I do, which is I don't think it's not as complicated as, you know, obviously being a musician, you know, touring, playing shows, making music, and like people still like lie to me about stuff. As I said, like, you know, oh, I know this person, and I'm like, cool, let's, you know, set it up, we can do it. And they're like, well, I really don't. I'm like, oh, well, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for wasting my time. Have a good one.
Can't put the money where the mouth is.
Yeah, my advice, anytime somebody says, oh, yeah, sure, I'm like, I'll email, I'll call. As soon as you start asking for money, then that's a different story.
Yeah,
you can make that connection all you want, but you know.
Yeah. It's weird. Like this week, I've had like, you know, Instagram's like, I think it's like the worst. Like I always get these scam messages like, hey, we want to help you build your, you know, audience and whatever. Just, you know, send us money to this whatever account and whatever. I'm like, oh yeah, delete, you know, all that.
Yeah, we get those all the time. Made me feel special.
Oh no.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now we had a really great therapy
Now that we're all sad.
yeah.
You're
So
getting
now that
screwed.
we brought everybody down with all of that. So all of you guys will be performing at the Debonair Music Hall on October 30th in Teaneck, New Jersey. So what can people expect from this show?
Well, I mean, I'll go for. I mean, I think I haven't really had the pleasure of seeing ALYXX or Kris live. ALYXX, I could have had the opportunity. It was just so chaotic.
Nice.
But I think you don't get as far as I think you could write good music. I think you could put good music out there, but you don't get as far as we all have here without an electrifying performance. Really, I think that which is the reason you go to live shows, right? Like you see how crazy everybody can get and how nuts everybody gets on stage, So I think the energy, you could download our music, you could buy the shirts. That's awesome. That's great. Do all that stuff. But, come out and see us, man. Come out, see all of us, get there for the first band, stay all the way through to the last band. Because you'll never know what you'll fall in love with. We played a show with Doyle from the Misfits, right? He has his own band.
Yep.
We did a show with him a couple of years ago, and we had to be there early. Everybody else knows you go for the load in, so you're probably there the whole time. And I fell in love with this weird band, Element A440. Really weird. I think at one point they were wearing like these skin masks, like like a la Slipknot, but like super creepier. They were like an industrial band. I don't like industrial. Industrial metal is not my thing. I absolutely love them. So the fact that I'm there, I discovered this band that I follow. I bought a shirt and I think underwear. They were selling underwear. I was like, I'll buy that underwear, whatever. So come out.
Industrial metal like Rammstein?
Yeah, but like weird, like super porn, like there's porn and playing in the back. They had these screens,
that's great.
It was at the Loft in Poughkeepsie, the Chance.
Oh yeah,
and they brought they had these screens and it was playing like hentai porn, like Japanese anime porn or whatever. And I was like, whoa,
That's awesome.
Yeah. I was like, this is like, you'd think like that would be like the easy, just like shock factor, but their music actually was legitimately good too, in my opinion.
Awesome.
But yeah, like industrial Rammstein type, stuff like that.
I'm a big What's that?
And they sell underwear too, so.
Yeah, well, they were like that. Yeah, like they're super like hypersexual sort of vibe to them, and I went to sort of shake their hand. And I was like, I don't want to get whatever you guys got, but you're great. It's you guys are fucking. I bought a bunch of stuff. I bought a CD. I bought a shirt, and maybe the underwear. Who knows? I forget.
That's awesome. That's the best part about this, the little tight knit shows like that, where especially at the Loft, like the merch tables on to the left when you go up the steps.
Yep.
Or you put them in the back. I played there before. My brother's band played there a bunch of times. And that's a cool spot. Loud as fuck.
Super cool. Yeah, you go deaf. What's that, Alex?
As it was really loud. I played there 2019 November. Yeah, it was a really cool little venue, and I feel like it has really good vibe there too.
Oh yeah,
super cool vibe. Yeah,
I like to play those, like the Loft and downtown. Alex, I'm sure you're aware. Like the Pianos Bar, which is great. The Arlene's Grocery down there is really fucking cool. There's a couple other venues. There's a place called Berlin Under A. Sorry, not Berlin Under A. Berlin, East Berlin, because there's two of them. There's Berlin Under A and there's East Berlin. Berlin Under A is a downstairs venue, which is also really cool. And then Berlin, same owners, which is on Avenue A, downtown. That's on the street level, but the place is like sick. It's got this round stage and these columns. It looks like this East Berlin industrial kind of post-war
so cool.
bar with the carpeted floor. That's carpeted floors are never a good thing in a bar.
Yeah.
But those places, if you bring your crowd and it's packed to the brim, and it's just, that's the coolest, the most tight knit, energetic show. Rather than playing a bigger venue where you have to like reach out to everyone to try to sell tickets. Those shows are like always those are the worst ones. But
I definitely like the intimate ones. Like
Oh,
the
yeah,
intimate
for
shows
sure.
are really cool. Although that festival was probably the coolest thing ever. So
yeah,
I would
that
love to get on that
couldn't
stage.
couldn't deny that. Yeah, that was super cool.
Yeah, festival
Yeah.
shows where the crowd's built in. You don't really have to do. You just show up and do what you do. That's the best. Those are the best.
Yeah, we lucked out. We played right after Seven Dust, and like there was just like a
really?
sea of people, and they just like
Oh,
they turn and I tell you, you only have a little bit of time to take advantage because you know you're going to have people that are going to start going to get a drink or getting a shirt. So, you know, we had that. I mean, Alex knows you had to like just like 20 minutes. You know, you travel 16-hour round trip and 2 days, 3 days, 4 days if you stayed.
where was it?
It was in Virginia, Danville,
Blue Ridge.
Virginia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Blue Ridge
shit.
Mountains. Yeah, it was cool. But there's a lot of controversy over like the fan side of it. I thought it was chaotic from the artist side, but once we were back there, it was cool. Chris Jericho walked by me. I saw the drummer, I think from Seven Dust, walk by me. Like it was so weird.
I
just
was
to show-
cool. I definitely saw a lot of like famous people, and I met some cool people. But yeah, like I know you were saying, like I know the fans had like their own stuff that happened on their end,
right.
but like from the artist standpoint, like honestly, everything kind of moved really smoothly on our end. So I can't say I don't know what they're going through, other than I was reading like their Facebook posts and was absolutely horrified at some of it. Like right before I went, I was like,
What
oh my God.
happened?
Yeah,
So
well,
Loudwire posted an article, and when I saw it, I was like, "Oh no!" It said what, and they, you know, they post a lot of shit. They cover a lot of festivals, but it's usually positive. This article just said, "What happened at Blue Ridge?" And I was like, "Oh no!" So like we had one of our guitarist family come, and he had to go through like the fan process to get there. And he said he was walking for 40 minutes and it was like a whole big thing. Camping got screwed up, all this stuff. I mean, it's like, you got to feel bad because it was a massive festival. It was huge. And I think that you get to a point where the logistics are just too crazy for it to be easy, you know, like, but I mean, at one point, I think I saw pallets of water and people were just grabbing the bottles of water. Like they were just giving away.
Wow.
Somebody, I don't know about you, Alex, somebody drove by in a golf cart full of COVID tests and we're just grabbing the COVID tests, you know, like they had just stacked high of COVID tests. And I came home. That was the only souvenir. I didn't buy any band shirt. I don't know why I didn't. I didn't buy anybody's shirt. I didn't buy anybody's shit. I came home with 6 COVID tests that I played with for the next week. I was like, oh, I'm good. I'm good. Good today. Yeah, the festival dust. Yeah.
I literally I went there. I was there Friday too, and I wore a mask and like right before I went on too, because I couldn't. Like you're just inhaling, and like there's just like the buses are going by backstage, and the golf carts. Which, by the way, thank them so much because I literally had to get from point A to point B fast for multiple occasions, and I just like hopped on a golf cart. But you're inhaling the dust the entire time. You're like,
yeah,
that's horrible.
That's terrible.
Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't hear anything about like Blue Ridge. I had friends go to Blue Ridge. I had bands, you know, interviewed play at Blue Ridge. I'm surprised I didn't really hear anything. But it's kind of funny. You get, what'd you get from Blue Ridge? I got 6 COVID tests.
Yeah, I just got to try. I was cleaning my truck out when we got home, and I was like, oh, COVID tests, and so yeah, I just used them.
I mean, I saw them on the floor. Not gonna lie, but no one gave me, or I didn't see them anywhere.
Yeah, they came up. They drove in a golf cart. They drove right up, and they're like, "Hey, have at it." It's just stacks of them, like just boxes of them.
It's great.
I was like, all right, festival COVID test.
Jesus.
Yeah,
that should be a shirt. I went to Blue Ridge, and all I got was this COVID test.
Yeah, all I got is a COVID test. 160,000 people, and they're just gonna hand out COVID tests. That was funny.
Yeah, wow.
So Kris, Wild Plains recently played at the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally. So how was that experience?
It was really fucking awesome. Except the drive was just way too much. It was like 15-hour drives, 2 days in a row. It's 30-hour drive total.
Jesus.
And we stopped in Chicago on the way there, where we ended up meeting the drummer to Dirty Honey, and he gave us free tickets to a show at ABC, and we went there.
That's
He got
cool.
us like real close tickets at PNC, which it's a cool venue, but those outdoor venues that you have all this great opportunity, but the sound system is like not that great.
Yeah.
What the fuck? But the Sturgis was hot as fuck, and there was wildfires, I guess, up in Canada or whatever's going on, or California or Canada or both. I'm not sure what was happening. So much like the festival dust, except down here was just smoke would settle in at nighttime, right around like 6, 7 p.m. And then it would get dark, even though it was still sort of like summertime. The smoke would just block out the sun. You'd have this like golden fireball in the sky, and no one could breathe. It was so fucking disgusting.
Wow.
But other than that, there was a lot of gang affiliation with the different motorcycle gangs. They had to get the SWAT. They had to get like the state police, the SWAT team, and all these. I don't know what happened. Something with the Outlaws and the Hell's Angels wouldn't back down from like a standoff, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Oh my God.
They had to escort I don't know if it was the Hell's Angels or the Outlaws or someone. They had to escort them out of town and like ban them from Sturgis forever because there was everyone had guns. Everyone had a gun, so the cops were like outnumbered by far. So we're all sitting there, what the fuck do you do?
Yeah, let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, the shows were good. We played in the Loud American. And we played on the Rally Point stage. We didn't get to see. We wanted to see like Kid Rock and all the artists play out the Blue Chip or the Buffalo Chip, which is like the big festival stage. We were out in the town on the bar stages, which are really cool. But it was cool.
Other than a standoff, I can't believe you're banned from Sturgis. Please don't come back.
Yeah, Jesus.
Crazy.
Because they wouldn't back down, and I guess that's the rule. So,
gosh, I didn't know. Didn't.
A lot of wild west wacky rules out there, and there's nothing else out there besides Sturgis. Sturgis is a small town. It's one strip where all the motorcycles park. I mean, people are sleeping. One house would have $200 a night for a 4x4 plot of land on someone's yard in the grass where you can pitch a tent and sleep there every night. And that house and their yard would have 20 tents all around the other house, and they divide their rooms up for other people to stay. And people were just sleeping on bleachers. And bikes were getting towed every night, and people were stumbling, getting into fights in the street. It was relatively calm for what it could have been.
Yeah.
But it was too much party, and it's carnival food, so it's not like you're getting a good meal. You're getting a turkey leg and buffalo burger. So it's just everyone's fucking swollen like a tick from all the sodium intake and beer. Runs out all day. It's just terrible and great at the same time.
Yeah. Guns, heart attacks, fucking great.
It was crazy, and every guy's the same guy. It's the same. It's a different outfit.
So, I'm glad to hear you had a fantastic time there and a drive there too and back.
The drive was
You got to Castor, Indiana. That's where I live. So there you go. I bet you saw a bunch of corn.
We saw a lot of corn, and we saw a silo. And we saw another silo, and one tree in a field, and more corn, and field, and silo, and that's it.
I like the random billboards too. Like once you're like deep into like the cornfields, there's always random billboards say, "Is God real?" or "Are you going to hell? Call this number."
Oh yeah.
There's always those random billboards up.
Wow.
Billboards were on. I have a picture. We got so many pictures from that trip. But yeah, there's some wacky shit. We drove through the Badlands. Very creepy. Cool, but creepy as well.
That sounds creepy.
It's like looks like Mars on Earth.
Oh, wow.
It's like green floor. It's like a mini Grand Canyon, but green. It looks like as if you were being on Mars. It's really, really fucking spooky.
Where is that?
It's in right before you get. It's like an hour from Sturgis.
Okay.
East.
Wow.
It's just one road. And the wind is just so fucking windy while you're driving. I thought on our way back home, I had thought I'm driving home first like 8 hours. That's half the drive, 8 hours. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm not complaining
I love
now.
it, then I hate it. And then as we're driving, I'm starting seeing light peek through the door jamb. I'm like, man, someone broke into the van last night. I didn't even notice when I opened the door. I thought someone like tried to pry the door and bent it up, but the wind was so strong that it's bending our door open.
What?
So bad. And the whole time, we can get like 6 hours on a tank in our van. We got a transit van that we use. And it's got the super high ceiling, so it's like a kite as you're driving. The wind just fucking blowing off
catch the wind.
So bad. We can typically get 5 hours on a tank, but we were getting an hour and a half on a full tank of gas. It was costing us $80 to fill up. It was the most expensive field trip.
That's insane. That is insane.
Yeah. Fuck that.
I'm glad you made it home though. Very
right? Jeez.
We barely broke even with the how much the trip cost us to get out there with how much we got paid for every show. We played 6 shows.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That is crazy. Yeah, I got 6 feet to the gallon.
We're all hungover and tired and sick. And at that time, I had just a whole situation with my girlfriend, now ex-girlfriend at the time, blew up my face, and then it was like driving home all sad.
While you were out there, oh my god.
Yeah, while I was out there.
Trying not to die either.
Trying not to die.
Yeah, get shot. Just go up to the house like, you know what? Can you just shoot me? Shoot
I don't
me.
want to go home.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't want to go home. Just kill me.
All right, so
Yeah.
back on track. So have you guys played any shows together before? I know obviously Nash and ALYXX, you played ALYXX, you played Blue Ridge together, but have you guys played any other shows together? All 3 of you?
I've played with ALYXX before at what was that? In the city, Bowery Ballroom.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was in a different band. I forgot about that.
What was the name of that band?
So that was like a project thing. It was called On the Dark Side. That was literally our first and only show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah,
That was
I forgot. That was
Great night.
Yeah, that was fun. It was a fun show, but like the dynamic, everything, it didn't work.
Yeah, this would be the first for me. Playing with them. Especially with COVID, I haven't really been playing with anybody, but so we're looking forward to it. I think honestly, this is the first time we've ever tried anything like this, getting a bunch of bands that we know locally, because it sort of turns into an industry. We sort of try to support each other a little bit. You kind of, when you start doing it, you kind of realize that bands could go one of 2 ways. They could either help each other out, or they could kind of just, fuck each other. And, you bring some people, your band goes up, then your people leave. It's like, you really would love to try to, it's the worst. And it's like, from a fan's perspective, it's not really their fault, because that they don't really look at it like, I'm here to see ALYXX. I don't give a fuck about Cash or whoever else is playing, like they don't really care. But it's like, you sort of as a band, you kind of, hey, stay for the show, we're gonna hang out, we'll see some shit, we'll see some new music maybe. So this is cool just because we're all local, and if it works out, maybe we could do it again. Maybe we can sort of revive, because playing locally in Rockland's good too, because you don't have to travel 16 hours and possibly get shot. Well, you can get shot in Nyack or Spring Valley or whatever, but yeah, right. Yeah, I don't remember. Actually, the last time we played Nyack was pre-COVID. I don't think I've ever been in Nyack since. I haven't been in Nyack since. You've never been in Nyack?
I never played in Nyack.
Oh, never played in Nyack. Yeah, we played bars that have closed, bars that have. I don't know that. I mean, Olives was cool for the original music scene, sort of, I guess.
Yeah, they really had. What do you have? Olives. The back door. I never played the back door, but that was sort of like before my New York time, because I moved here in like 2010, and then 2011. I think 2011, 2012 was really the last like 2 years of the back door, maybe. Backstage, what was it called?
Yeah,
back door.
No, the back door. That was the shit. I used to go to shows there all the time. I actually, weirdly enough, got up on stage and sang with the Always for one of their songs.
Oh wow!
Really?
Forever.
Small world.
Do you remember Jaguar?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh wait, I was in that video.
For what?
I was also in one of the music videos.
Wow.
Just making connections all on this podcast there.
Yes.
Yeah. Matt, this one's gonna blow up, man. There's a lot of stuff happening in this one.
All right, so since we're kind of going this direction, I was actually already planning on talking about it. So, what is like the music scene where you guys are from, like the New York, New Jersey area? What is like the music scene like there now? Like we're starting to hopefully, I think you guys are opening up a little bit now as the year goes on.
It's going to be hard pressed to find something nice for me to say about that.
Yeah,
Music scene.
Chris started to allude to it earlier about the. Yeah, it's tough. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's all right. The New York City music scene is like, at least this is my and mine and Andre's feeling on it. Is that right before COVID? I would say that a scene was beginning to blossom. At least what we saw. We started seeing the same faces come to shows. A lot of our shows, we were able to bring like it felt like the crowd was growing organically. And our friends would tell their friends, they'd bring out groups, and everyone was getting a little wild where they just wanted to have a crazy night. So they were going to go out and do whatever anyways. So we could bring a decent crowd to a show, and then they'd come to the next show and the next show. We'd bring people in our van. But it was only right before COVID that we started seeing like the life at a show. Before that, it was like you're trying to sell this many tickets, bring people to the show. And you'd be trying to book these shows and get your friends to come out and have them bring their friends. But as for a scene, it's very difficult to get the same bands and the same page to have like a scene. You know, the scene would be like Pianos Downtown, Arlene's Grocery, a couple other small clubs. Those are the ones that we know, that we're familiar with. There's a bunch of other ones like the Bitter End and you got like, what's that one that's downtown? It's sort of like Sweeney Toddy. It's got a name like Debonair Music Hall, but it's not. Can't think of it.
Rockwood Music Hall?
Not Rockwood. It's another good one though.
Yeah, we played there.
No,
I'm going to be no help since I've never been to that area ever.
There's a lot. There's a lot to, you know.
Like Debonair Music Hall is the old Mexicali. That was like a poppin' place. That would be a great venue.
Yeah, that was definitely.
It's
really
just in
popular.
Teaneck. Yeah, the Mexicali was great, and Debonair Music Hall did a great job the way they set it up. It's gonna be such a cool fucking show. That's a Saturday night. Thank God it's a Saturday night. Friday night shows are cool, but people got to get home from work and change and try to make it out.
Yeah,
Saturday
it's tough.
It's like, thank God, it's amazing.
Yeah, I've been to shows on like a weekday, and it really shows that it's a weekday because not as many people are there.
Yeah.
The weekday shows, I mean, I understand they have to, you know, some have to get set up, but like they're not as fun. They're really not.
Yeah,
No, not when I got to be up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. And I think, you know, too, it's hard post-COVID. I of the mind that COVID has changed a lot of things. It might have created an opportunity, you know, to do something different. You know, the formula may have changed where that you don't necessarily have to go sell a shit ton of tickets or whatever and do all this stuff. But I think it's still in that weird recovery. People don't know what to do. People don't know if they want to go out. They're prioritizing certain things over stuff like shows maybe. I mean, Blue Ridge was phenomenal. It's packed. The motorcycle rally sounds like it's the same thing. So it's not that people aren't going, but, you know, and bands too. I think they're flocking. You know, we played Starland Ballroom. We had a really good show at Starland Ballroom before COVID, and it was looking like they were going to have us back. We were, you know, talking with them, trying to get something going. And then COVID happened, and now it's like I don't even know if it's worth reaching out to them at this point because they're trying to still do their big shows.
Yeah, they're trying to get their money back. We
Yeah.
had at Starland that we were supposed to open for that band Kicks, you know, like the 80s rock band.
Right, yeah.
You know the song like Blow My Fuse? It was a hit for the time, and it makes sense for the time.
Yeah.
Classic 80s. And then they get on stage and then they just talk shit. Man, the record companies and his skinny little guy with the blonde hair, they fucked us. We had the mansions, we had the cars, we had the girls. and they took it from us. But they just gave us like the temporarily permanent postpone.
Yeah, I saw a band that happened. We played in November, and then it was March of that year that it all hit. So it was like we were lucky, but
yeah.
Then I'm like,
No, I played Blackthorn in January 2020, and that was always a great venue for me because I guess my stuff is a little bit harder rock, and that's like a very metal venue. And every time I ever played a show there, like it's just always been such a great response to everything, especially people had no idea who I was. And I had some people that would come out then when I would play more shows there. So they actually closed, like their venue closed.
Yeah,
I played a Revolution a little while before that. I think I played Revolution November of 2019. They closed. And it was like, for me, I'm like sitting here watching all the venues that I play at just disappear because of COVID. Right. And I had a lot of shows that were booked up, some of them in like Pennsylvania and whatnot, and they were canceled. And because we didn't know the state of the world. And even now, like, it's hard. And like, I'm still on, like, not even trying to like book a lot of shows because I'm like, I don't even know what's going on. Like, you tell me about this one, I was like, hell yeah, like it's a set show. I know they're not gonna, it's set in stone and it's gonna happen. But I had a lot of things that were like, well, maybe we have to see what the state of the world is like. And just like that, not knowing is really frustrating. So I was just kind of like focusing on writing and doing like the social media aspect of shit for the time being. And in terms of like the music scene, like there is no music scene around Rockland, to be honest. There's none. And I think also like the genre of choice is very different around here. But like you're saying, we went up to Blue Ridge and there was like 40,000 people there a day, and everyone was so into it, and like the energy was so great. And then I actually went to the Megadeth show at PNC.
Oh, cool!
Like a couple days after, what was it? Like Trivium, Megadeth, Lamb of God, and
In Flames. Or they backed out?
Hatebreed. Yeah, okay. Hatebreed plays them. And a friend of mine got me tickets for it, and it was like, again, it was like COVID never happened, and everyone was like all into it. And then I come back to like where I am, and I'm like, no one listens to any of the same music that I do. So it's very, very weird, but
frustrating. It's like, where do you go to find a scene?
Yeah.
Ron, that was in the Always, Ron Geffen. He's out in LA, and we went out there last year, I guess. And he's like, dude, the scene out here is amazing. But it's like, I don't see what he's talking about. Nothing. First of all, I went there, nothing was open. We weren't allowed in any restaurant or anything like that. He was like, before COVID happened, it was crazy. And maybe he's right, but I don't know the LA crowds for me. I'm like East Coast to my core, but there's nothing out here. Like, where do you go? You gotta, unless you have a series of or a handful of local bands that are just gonna pound the pavement and just get to it, which we could start something. We could try to create some sort of.
We should get like rings, like fucking Captain Planet. Like, is that, am I dating myself with that reference? But like, we kind of fucking, I don't know what that superhero looks like, but
showing your age a little bit there, Joe.
Yeah, I know. I should have picked something else.
I don't know.
Infinity Stones. Yeah, that's.
I don't know if anybody's really trying to make something work.
Yeah,
It's really trying to focus on like every other aspect of the band. It'd be helpful if we had like one person just making it all work. And then we can focus on writing music, recording it.
And the problem is go back to the other point about the manager. Like you need somebody who's not going to fuck you. You need somebody who is going to do, let's face it, a lot of work for probably not a lot, if anything. Coordinating different people, like, and again, like Alex was saying, you start to say, okay, let me focus on this. Like we recorded a song, we did a music video, we're doing a PR thing. So we're like, oh, that's great. That's great. And then you start to forget that maybe we should also, man, maybe this is partially what the show is going to be about, where you do a little, maybe kind of get together and start to do that. And you start to like, fuck, but if I spend all my time doing that, what if that doesn't do anything? And, trying to revive music in Rockland is, people have paved the way doing stuff like that. And it's like any other thing. You roll the dice, you take a risk, and hopefully the time you put into it works.
Yeah. What venues are there?
I know. I keep thinking Olives. I know people. It gets mixed results.
Yeah. I know there's
but
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was thinking like
Dingbats.
I know there's one in. Actually, they may have closed. Where's Dingbats?
It's in Jersey, Clifton.
Clifton. Is the Clash Bar still?
I don't know.
Do you know the Clash Bar? And I think it's in Clifton as well.
Is it the one that's like right across from it? Because
that's same owners.
So yeah, I guess the one that's across from it.
No, that's Dingo's Den. Dingo's Den. That's owned by that's owned by the same. I don't know if they do bands. I think it's literally like if you want bands, go to Dingbats. If you want the Clash Bar, man, that sounds familiar. Did we play there?
Yeah, it's like cut out of the 80s. It's got mirrored walls. It's all mirrors, and then it's got carpeted floors, and it's got the like the bowling alley tables.
Wow.
They may have closed though. Carpeted floors is never a good thing.
No, it's not. But it's kind of funny. So like the scene where I'm at, I mean, I wasn't really super active before COVID, so I can't really speak to it. But like, I mean, there's some bands trying, but like, I go to a local show where I'm at, and maybe there's like 20 people there. But I went to Cleveland for a show, and it was packed. It was full to capacity, packed. And like, I come back to Indiana, I'm like, where is everybody?
Yeah.
Favorite cities.
Yeah.
But again, sometimes it's packed, yeah, but maybe that market's a little inundated and it's hard to, like, funny enough, maybe Rockland kind of sucking dick right now would be a great place to try to start. Or you put a lot of time into it and it doesn't do anything. So it's hard to make that call because you want to put time in it. You know that if you're writing a song, you're going to get somewhere, when you record and that, you're going to have something, if I decide I'm going to do 10 shows at Olives, it may not do anything. And like Alex said, I don't know if you were alluding to this, but I feel like metal is such a high demand. I love metal too. I'm a big Killswitch Engage fan. I'm a big fan of In Flames. I'm a big fan of a lot of these bands that we are not, but, I feel like there's so many of those bands coming out and people just love that stuff. And, sometimes I sit in our music, I'm like, shit, we're trying to compete with all these other guys that we don't even really belong in the same genre. So it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. Especially right now with everything still, as Alex said, like you can make plans today and everything could be closed tomorrow, or it could be the show could be off, or like it just won't work. It's like you never really know.
Mm-hmm.
And especially like for me, like I don't have a team. Like everything that I do is literally me. I book the shows, I do every aspect of everything. So it's like it's hard for me to like spend my time like focusing on shows when I don't even know if they're gonna happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like trying to figure out where to put my energy for the time being. But yeah, like I wish we had venues and like a market for rock music, but there is none here. And then at the same time, it's like, okay, well, I know actually Massachusetts apparently like has a really good like rock kind of thing. So them, Pennsylvania, I mean, they're close to us, but like I'm more so like even just kind of looking out there at this point because I feel like here it's, I don't know.
I'm like writing all this down. I'm like,
Scranton, Pennsylvania has a pretty cool scene. We played there a bunch of times, and there's a series of bands. Even Philly's got a pretty good scene down there for rock. Philly's got some really cool rock bars, venues that I have some friends down there that are in really like metal bands and they play in Philly all the time, and they get a lot of people out to come to the show. So they definitely have a good crowd down there.
Yeah.
Scranton's got a good scene. I'm trying to think of another good scene. But not a good scene, but a scene of some sort.
It exists.
There's really nothing near us.
It's kind of there. All right. So don't want to keep you guys for too much longer. So just one more thing I did want to cover before we sign off. So from my research, you guys are all independent, meaning not signed to a label, correct?
We have we're signed to a British label, like a distribution deal. Yeah. I don't know if you consider that like truly signed to a label. You know, it's a distribution deal, but yeah, we're signed to Heavy Metal Records out of the UK.
I didn't. So I see. Why do I make notes for no reason? Anyway, but I think you can.
We all learn.
Yeah. Thanks, Joe. You had to mess up my next question.
Sorry. I mean, just kidding. We're not signed.
Yeah. No, it's all right. But I think you can still touch on it. So, like, what are some like the challenges, advantages of being an independent band?
Challenges and advantages?
Yes.
Well, I only know being independent. So I'd say a challenge is getting your music out there frequently enough. You know, you can post a song and then it's posted that one time, but unless you put money into your posts all the time, constantly staying up on marketing of it, then it's going to fall by the wayside and not be in someone's ad every time they click next on the story on Instagram or see it as they scroll by on Facebook. So it takes a lot of your own money out of your pocket. So you got to work a 9 to 5 or 7 to 5 in my case, 7 to 4. And then break your ass and then get home and be exhausted and still got to write your own music, still got to book your own shows, still got to manage your time, still got to set up everything you got to do all on your own while being tired and depressed. So that's the challenge of being independent. But I guess on the upside is that we can pretty much make our own decisions whenever we want.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you with that. I have a full-time, well, it's now it's like a part-time partial job. I have 3 jobs. So I understand that like the being exhausted and then every single cent that you make is going right back into there. So you're broke and you're like, but I'm working 3 jobs. This makes no sense. But yeah, like you're saying, it's the getting yourself out there and not having a team to like push everything forward. And unless you're putting money into promotion and all that shit, then nothing really gets seen. And also another thing I've also come into contact with, especially like trying to book shows, is people not taking you seriously because again, like I don't have a booking agent. So I'm myself representing myself, trying to give you a product and you being like, well, are you signed or whatnot? And then also, as silly as it sounds, like a lot of people, and this sounds so stupid, but if you're not like verified on like social media with that little stupid check mark, a lot of times people don't take you seriously. And if you're trying to like, you know, book a venue or a location or whatever it is. So I guess trying to be taken seriously as an artist is frustrating. But also, like Kris said, like the fact that you own your music, at the end of the day, everything gets back to you. And you don't have a label telling you like, no, we don't really like this song. I mean, actually, that might be a good thing if someone could be like, please don't do this. And then, because right now it's just, I like it, here you go. And then later I'm like, that sucks. But, you know, having the freedoms and owning your own writing and publishing aspect of it. But it's a double-edged sword.
Gotcha. Joe, would you like to add anything?
I mean, since you label aside, we have not gotten any. I mean, they're great people. We get a lot of advantage. I mean, these guys, they were back in the 70s with the new wave of British heavy metal. They were like, I think they had Diamond Head under their label, bands like that. The owner knows the Rolling Stones, but it hasn't really materialized any like major advantage. Like Alex said, sometimes when we go to book a show and say, hey, we're signed to a label. At the time we had management, which was how we got signed to a label. So a lot of that. So without that, it's tough. You're going. I mean, I'm a little older. I have 2 kids. I have a wife. I have a full-time job, trying to balance all that stuff. I think honestly, all that aside, I think the hardest part is getting people to take you seriously, but you have to get noticed among, I mean, any asshole can start a band, anybody there's a lot of now more than any time, there's all this equipment that you can put a lot of stuff out there. And now you're competing with, actually, it's funny. The other day I saw something on Facebook where somebody, I think it was Papa Roach, was like, hey, who should we tour with? And then there was just all the band names, there was not one like regular person name. There was just all like these bands. And I'm just scrolling through. I was like, oh my God, there's so many fucking bands out there. There's so many fucking people out there, and you're all, I don't want to say you're competing against one another, but there's only so much space for everybody, you know. So it's trying to find a new way to get noticed. It's a new way to put it out there. Kris said it. You know, you can't just dump money into ads. You have to know how to use it. You have to know how to use the algorithm, you know. Like, you got to know how to use all that shit. I don't know any of it, you know. It took me 17 hours just to set up this fucking camera, you know. So
I think I missed the boat on the age. Like, my sister's really good at that shit, and she's younger. But like, I don't know how to do the social media shit. I don't know what tags to put for the day, how to day trade your post and your hashtags. Yeah.
I'll be honest, embarrassed. I live on social media because I'm trying to figure out how the fuck the kids these days use it. And I mean, you see these people like on TikTok that have like hundreds of thousands of followers, and they're like, I'm gonna be a musician, and then they put out a song that's, I'm sorry, trash, because they're not singers, they're not artists, but they have a following, and then they get signed, and it's this whole like talking about there's, you know, only a certain amount of space, and it's being taken up by people that
by shit.
Yeah, but people really don't contribute to anything. So it's you're fighting to get your slot and your space and your time with people that aren't even putting into it. And it's like, I wish we could go back to the days when talent really meant something, you know? Because like, I think we're all kind of in the same boat with that.
Yeah, it just amazes me, like, to go like along with you said, like, I listen and watch other podcasts, and like some, like, I don't know how do you get these many views, because like it's, you know, it's not that good, you know, to be honest. Like, it's not that great. The interview wasn't super impressive, or like the audio wasn't great, or like the guest wasn't into it. It was just like, how do you have these many views for, like, I honestly think some of my podcasts are probably better, including this one right now. It's just weird, like what get views and what doesn't, and it really doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and some of it, we have a friend who's on tour right now. He actually played Blue Ridge as well, and he's on tour right now with Fozzy. And I think he's probably, out of anybody I know musician-wise, he's probably in the best spot. He's a young dude. He actually worked at a marketing company. So it's like he set himself up. What's that?
I know who you're talking about.
Joe?
Yeah.
Okay. So Joe's a good friend of ours. Joe, we're shouting you out now. You're getting a shout out. He played with us when he was a kid. You know, we had him join us on stage when he was, barely a teenager, and now he's on tour. But I think it's like he just knows a lot of shit, you know. And we're like, give us the coattails, bro. What's going on? What's going on here? Oh, but great dude. But it's the point is that he's able to sort of navigate this better than a guy like me, because, you know, it's almost like he figured it out ahead of the game. You know, he said, I want to learn this so I could do this and get here. I know there's a lot of luck in there, but, you know, it's one of those, if I could go back, I would start reading more.
Yeah. Reading is important.
Yeah.
If I can go back, because I never stop saying that.
Yeah.
If I could just go back.
Yeah. All the money we spent.
And time. Money and time.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And sanity.
Yeah.
That's true. I didn't think about it like that.
Try being a band with 2 of your brothers. It's a fucking nightmare sometimes.
My sister could play an instrument. I'd put her in the band in a heartbeat. Like, let's go.
Yeah, it's fun, and then it has its moments, but it's great. I who knows if we didn't have this, if we would have hung out as much as we do, but so that part's really cool.
That's awesome.
At least you guys still talk to each other too.
I know. And Johnny, who Kris knows, he was running our merch table at Blue Ridge, so we got a lot of support, you know, in and out of the band. So it's
I know
cool.
Johnny too. RCC.
You know Johnny? Oh
Everybody
my God.
knows Johnny.
Everybody knows Johnny.
I know everybody apparently.
Yeah, right. What's going on here? Do you know my mom, Alex? Yeah. Yeah, Matt, you should have my brother on. I don't know why you got me on. I'm boring. Get him on.
I didn't ask for you. They just said it was going from Nash.
Well, I fucked this up. I got to text them when I leave, because this whole setup is meant for like one dude. This is like my gaming setup here, and it's like only meant for one guy. James texts me. He's like, "Hey, I'm outside." I was like, "Bro, I don't have another headset. If I get the speaker, it might get feedback. Get the fuck out of here!" Like he literally was outside the house, and I told him to go home. So he's probably mad at me right now
on his phone or something. Anyway,
I panicked. I fucking panicked. Yeah.
All right,
and he comes at like 7:59, so I'm like, yeah.
All right. Well, I think we reached the end of this podcast. We're almost actually going to be over an hour here. But thank you guys so much for hanging out. Please, if you're in the New Jersey, New York area, definitely see all these great bands live. October 30th, Debonair Music Hall. It's going to be a great time. As you heard from all these great artists, they're awesome people. So please check them out. I'm going to leave links for the event for all these bands in the description of this podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Matt. Man, that's awesome.
Of course,
Yeah,
of course.
That's what we need to do. And I'll see you guys in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna sign off real quick. So for Joe Nash of the band Nash, for Kris of the band Wild Plains, and Alex from ALYXX. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm your host as always, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Stay frosty.